Hello everyone, so my name is John Murphy and today I'm going to give you some brief history on the Westminster Abbey. So to start off, the Westminster Abbey is one of the most famous religious buildings in the history of our world today, and it is still being served as a church today, servicing regular church hours and celebrations of great national events. The Westminster Abbey has held so many historical events in its history. The church has been used at the site of royal coronations since 1066, so that's nearly 1,000 years. The shrine of St. Edward the Confessor has been housed within the Westminster Abbey, including many other tombs of kings and queens of England. And considering its name, the Westminster Abbey, it is actually no longer an abbey and hasn't housed monks or nuns for hundreds of years. The Westminster Abbey is really like no other cathedral or parish church. It's formally known as the Collegiate Church of St. Peter, Westminster, and has been named as a royal peculiar under the authority of Dean and Chapter, which is the governing body of a cathedral. So this means that it's only subject to the sovereign and not any ordinary archbishop or bishop. And so, with the history of the Westminster Abbey, it started off as a small Benedictine monastery nearby the original royal palace of King Edward, and would eventually evolve into the current Westminster Abbey as we know today. And so, under the patronage of King Edgar and St. Dunstan, the monastery was founded around 960 AD. King Edward would choose to restore and significantly expand the monastery, constructing a sizably large stone church in honor of St. Peter the Apostle. The church would then be informally known as the Westminster to differentiate it from St. Paul's Cathedral, which was also known as the Eastminster in the city of London. Just as the new church was consecrated on December 28, 1065, King Edward would unfortunately become very ill and die only a few days later. So after he had dreamt of renovating this monastery into a vast church, he would then die, which was very unfortunate. Fast forwarding a couple hundred years later, the church and the abbey would survive the next 2 centuries until the middle of the 13th century, when King Henry III decided to reestablish it in the new Gothic style of architecture. So within this time period, Gothic style was huge. Buildings, churches, everything was starting to be reconstructed this way. So King Henry III wanted to glorify the church and rejuvenate it in this Gothic style. So King Henry III had introduced the idea that it serve as a place for the coronation and burial of monarchs, and not only serve as a great monastery and place for worship. So still to this day, the Westminster Abbey is being used for royal coronations and the burial of our past kings and queens of England. And so at this point in time, this was one of the biggest reconstructions of the Westminster Abbey, this addition by King Henry III, and so it would then be consecrated on October 13th, 1269. And still today, the normal schedule of worship is offered to glorify God. So, thank you very much, and have a good day.